Hello everyone, Reverend Deanna Cox here with your midweek reflection for this second week of August. Sort of feels like the first to me because we're coming up towards our first Sunday service after a fairly long break over July, and so it's sort of a beginning, but it's kind of in the middle. It's weird. Yes. So we are, this Sunday will be an outside worship service. We are starting with a camp out in Killam, physical location of Killam, followed on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are going to have worship together outside, weather permitting, of course, and then a potluck lunch. And it's kind of like I said, we're shifting slowly. It's a good kind of transition Sunday as we shift from like either holiday mode back into work mode, or I live in a very rural community. We serve very rural communities, so shifting from, the dog days of summer into harvest mode. There's a shift going on, and as we enter into the fall, I don't really want to talk about it, but as we enter into planning, that's why I'm standing in front of my vision board where Tiffany, my admin, and I will soon sit down and do some long-range planning for the year. And so as we think about that shift into the fall, we're coming knowing that there will be a lot of work for us to do, especially this year. But I saw the most beautiful post this morning by someone that I follow called Lil Riley Farms. And it's a local farm here in this area. And she talked about how it's a life of intention. It's easy to fill your days with all these tasks that must be done, especially on a farm or especially in ministry. You could pretty much fill in the blank with anything. You have all these things that you need to get done, and you wake up and you get started on your task list. But she said she found herself just walking through the garden, and it started with noticing the work that needed to be done, the weeds that needed to be pulled, but also allowed herself that space to set that aside and notice the flowers in bloom and notice the beauty and the lushness. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. Intention being more than to-do lists, more than task boards, more than visioning. Intention being making and taking the time to fill our hearts with joy and love so that we can respond to the tasks with compassion and grace and love. And so it's very important to do that. I myself am looking at a lot of work as I've shared on Facebook that my partner and I have bought an acreage, and we need to invest a lot of work into it. So I'm very much looking forward to that work, but I feel it in my body, and so there also needs to be that balance, that intention of caring for self. And so I'm trying to take that perspective with our ministry together too, that we are coming up on a lot of work. We have fundraising that needs to be done so that we can carry on our ministry. We have ministry that needs to be done, and we have the closure of a ministry this year to do, which will have a lot of technical pieces that will need to be done. But it also has a lot of care and intention that will need to happen around that. And so if we can be sure to make the time to fill our cups so that we can face the tasks ahead filled with joy, so that we can face it with compassion and grace and love, that would be great. Beyond the task lists in our ministry, it is also June 2025 will be the 100th anniversary of the United Church of Canada. And so it's a perfect time to look at the joy, the accomplishments, the milestones that we have achieved through the past 100 years. It is August 2025 will be my 10th anniversary of ministering with the lovely folks of Daysland, Killam, and Rosalind. And so a colleague pointed out that is shifting from ministry into long-term ministry together. And so what kind of intention are we moving into that long-term ministry together with? And how, and even just as the world exists and feels quite divisive, what intention are we bringing to how we are going to live? And so all of that is what I want to talk about, that shift, and from blissful summer into intentional work, that, and how can we continue to fill our cups in that intention. Jesus would often go to the wilderness to rest, to pray, to fill his cup, because I'm sure preaching to the crowds, having people reach out and touch him, and he would physically feel that kind of energy drawn from him, as he did with the woman who reached out and touched his cloak, and he was like, who touched me? And the disciples are like, dude, you're standing in a crowd of people, what do you mean who touched you? But he felt that draw of his energy, and so he would often retreat to the wilderness to pray, and so he is modeling for us the intention of, as the author of Lil Riley Farms post said, of making time to smell the flowers and filling our cups. And so it is, and filling our hearts with compassion and grace so that we can respond and continue our ministry in that way. So as these last few weeks of summer go through, hopefully we get a long, beautiful fall. I encourage us to think about what are we doing to intentionally fill our cup and not just get caught up in this, I don't know, it's often called the rat race, but in this cog of just doing things off our to-do list that we think is a life of purpose, a life of intention. How are we caring for our own selves? How are we caring for each other? How are we caring for our ministry together? So that we can do it well, with intention. So there are my thoughts for today, for our midweek reflection on living with intention, and how we might do more of that and do it well in the coming church year. So take care, friends. Enjoy your blissful summer, and I hope to see you all at our camp out worship on Sunday. Take care, and God bless you richly. Bye.